It's December 2025. The headlines are glowing. S&P 500 up 17%, unemployment at record lows, consumer confidence soaring. But then one number stopped me cold. The top 10% of Americans now account for 49% of all consumer spending. Half of the entire economy is controlled by just 10% of the population. Let that sink in. This isn't just a statistic, it's a confession. It means the economy you hear about on TV, the strong recovery, the resilient consumer, isn't your economy. It's theirs. You're not in the picture. But here's where it gets unsettling. The system was designed this way, and you might never even know how. Stick around. What happens next will change how you see everything. So why does this matter to you? Well, that 49% of spending, it's not spread evenly. It's concentrated in the hands of a tiny group. The rest of the economy, well, it's mostly just running on fumes. The GDP numbers, the headlines celebrating a booming economy, they're not telling you the whole story. What they're really celebrating is the wealth of the top 10%. Now imagine for a second, if the economy is doing well, why do so many Americans struggle just to make ends meet? Why does it feel like the deck is stacked against you? Is the economy really as strong as they say, or is something deeper at play? This isn't just an anomaly. It's part of a pattern, a divide that's growing faster by the day. Let's break this down. The bottom 50% of American households, roughly 66 million families, own just 2.5% of the nation's wealth. That's according to Federal Reserve data from 2024. If America's wealth were a 100-meter race, the bottom half has barely moved past the starting line. Meanwhile, the top 1%, they've crossed the finish line and are already on their third lap, owning 30% of everything. But here's the twist. This gap isn't just growing, it's accelerating. In 1989, the bottom 50% held 3.4% of the wealth. Now it's 2.5%. That's not just stagnation. That's a decline, while they're working harder than ever. Notice what's missing here. The idea that this is just how things go. No, this isn't just a result of a market cycle. It's by design, and it's getting worse. Now let's get serious. This gap isn't just an abstract statistic. It's already causing real damage. Look at what's happening with rent prices. There's a company called RealPage based in Texas that's become central to this issue. RealPage isn't just a software company. It's a tool that helps landlords raise rent prices nationwide. How? By feeding rental data into an algorithm that coordinates pricing across competitors. And here's the kicker. Even when supply exceeds demand, even when there are empty apartments, the algorithm ensures rents go up, not down. One landlord reported raising rents by over 25% in less than a year. Not because the property improved, but because the algorithm told them to. It's not just greedy landlords, it's systemic. And here's where it gets truly wild. The Department of Justice sued RealPage for price fixing, but the company paid zero in damages. Zero. This is where the rules are rigged, and it's hurting the people who can least afford it. Now, what happens if this keeps up? What happens when this system of control continues to spread? Now, let's raise the stakes. You've seen how rent prices are manipulated, but it's not just housing. The bottom 50% don't just struggle with rising rents. They're locked out of the very system that's supposed to work for everyone. They own just 1% of all stocks. That's right, 1%. So when CNBC celebrates the stock market hitting all-time highs, that celebration isn't for them. It's for the people who already own the market. It's not just a missed opportunity. It's a systematic exclusion. When the Federal Reserve printed $8 trillion since 2008, where did that money go? It went into asset prices. The rich got richer, while the bottom half of the population saw their wages stagnate. This isn't a fluke. It's the way the system is designed. The stock market isn't a reflection of the economy. It's a scoreboard for the wealthy, and you're not playing. Here's the line that changes everything. The game is rigged. The rules are made to keep you from ever getting in. Let's stack a few of these realities together fast. First, 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money. That's a car repair, a medical copay, a broken phone. For almost half the population, that's not just an inconvenience, it's a financial disaster. Second, credit cards are their lifeline at 22% interest. Payday loans with APRs that could hit 400%. Buy now, pay later schemes with hidden fees. This isn't about financial mismanagement. It's the system's design. Third, and this one should haunt you, 80% of stocks are owned by just 10% of the population. When the Federal Reserve prints money, the rich see their portfolios swell, while the rest of us watch our wages erode. What happens if this continues? What happens when entire generations are locked out of the financial system, when debt becomes the only way to survive? Now, let's talk about what this means for you, because this isn't just a theoretical problem. For millions of people, this is life. The 40% who can't cover a $400 emergency, they're living paycheck to paycheck, hoping they don't get that unexpected bill. And for the rest of us, the ones in the middle, we're stuck in the anxiety of the haves category, clinging to mortgages and 401ks, hoping nothing goes wrong. Every layoff, every medical bill, every recession feels like it could send us spiraling into the pit below. If this sounds familiar, say so in the comments, because this isn't just about numbers, it's about real lives, real families, and it's only getting harder to make ends meet. But here's the thing, this isn't a failure of individual responsibility, it's structural, and the ones who have everything are banking on you not understanding that. Now let's take a step back and look at how this system works, because this isn't just about personal struggle, it's about how the game is rigged from the start. You see, the wealth gap isn't a fluke, it's a design. There are mechanisms in place that keep this system churning, and they're not obvious. Take leverage, for example. When the wealthy get richer, they don't just sit on their wealth. They invest it, multiply it, shield it from taxes. They don't rely on wages to get ahead. They use assets. And for you, the system is set up to make sure you don't get access to those same assets. It's a spectacle, really, a show designed to keep you focused on the idea that if you work hard enough, you'll make it. But the truth, the rules were written long ago, and they weren't written for you. This isn't some random economic event. This is power in motion. So where do we go from here? There are two paths. One, where this system continues as is. The rich keep getting richer, the middle class keeps shrinking, and the bottom half of the population struggles to keep their heads above water. This path leads to more division, more resentment, and a system that's on the verge of collapsing under its own weight. The second path, it's a little more uncertain. We're already seeing signs of it. Pressure is building, and as more people wake up to the reality of how this system works, things could shift. But here's the thing. We're at a crossroads. It's not clear which direction we'll go. What's clear is that momentum is building in one direction and the next move is already being set in motion. The question is, will we let this continue or will something finally break the cycle? Here's the insight you need to walk away with. This system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to. The people who benefit from it wrote the rules. And as long as you don't understand how it works, the game keeps going. But the more people who see behind the curtain, the harder it is for them to keep the illusion going. The question is, will you let them continue to pull the strings, or will you push for a system that works for everyone? If you've learned something today, share this. Not for the algorithm, but to spread the truth. Because the more of us who see the game for what it really is, the harder it becomes to keep playing by their rules. Subscribe for more, and let's keep pulling back the curtain together.